All right, shalom to the 12 tribes. All praise the Most High Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. Shabbat shalom to everybody who's observing the Sabbath today. So today's lesson is going to be quicker than usual. We're going to get straight to the point. It's about accountability, self-examination, and integrity. So Sister Danny, Ashar Shabbat.
Shar Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
So if you want to go ahead and start out.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Hamashiach Yahweh Shai is in you, except ye be reprobates?
So in this truth, one thing that we definitely have to do every single day is make a self-examination of ourselves, of our walks, and this is a huge part of holding ourselves accountable to the Most High, which we're going to go to Hebrews chapter 4 and 13. So I'm going to read the definition of examine, right? Because it says you have to examine yourself to make sure that you're in the faith, right? So there's a difference between having faith and walking in the faith. And like we explained in the last lesson that we did a few days ago, faith without works is dead. And if we have true faith, it's going to lead to works, right? So examining yourself, this is the definition from the Oxford language definition of examine. It says to inspect someone or something in detail to determine their nature or condition, to investigate thoroughly. Right, so we have to inspect ourselves in detail in order to determine our nature and our condition. Right, is our nature going along with what the word says we're supposed to do? Is our first nature to go against the word, or is our first nature to follow the word without even thinking about it? Right, and then it says your condition, the conditions that you're living in, right? Are they according to the word, or are they against the word? And then it says investigate thoroughly. So we are really investigating ourselves, examining ourselves, where we should be daily, in order to hold ourselves accountable, because the Most High holds us accountable daily as well. And that's why in Ecclesiastes it says that the place of judgment is under the sun, right? And I remember in the Christian church they would always say, like on the day of judgment, the day of judgment, and like, yeah, that's true. There's gonna be the final judgment, but every single day the Most High is judging us. That's why there's blessings and there's curses. And today, okay, were more curses upon me or blessings upon me,
Okay.
right? But go ahead, Ike.
This is Hebrews chapter 4, verse 13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do.
You want to break it down?
Kind. So I've actually it's funny because the brother did bring this verse up to me probably some months ago, right? But the thing about it is this: it says that the Most High, considering that He's the creator of all things, right? And we are His creation. We are His vessels. We are the things that He gave life to. Nothing that we do, nothing that we think, nothing that we say, anything along those lines, nothing is hidden from Him. And there's other verses to back that up, right? But everything is manifest or revealed before Him. Everything is in front of Him at all times, right? We are naked before Him. Just like how it was with Adam and Eve in the garden, they were naked before Him when He created man to begin with. That's symbolic. It shows that we're always going to be naked before Him. Nothing that we do is going to be hidden. And Sirach says His eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, right? And the knowing that we're naked before Him, that's the importance of understanding that we have to be accountable every single day. We got to hold ourselves accountable, and we got to hold one another accountable. Because if He knows what we're doing, you feel what I'm saying? Like, there's really no excuse when it comes down to it. Like how the ox said, we get judged every single day. When the final judgment comes, though, that's when He's gonna call everything to remembrance, and He's gonna judge you on the balanced scale based off of how you lived your life from beginning to end.
Con. I'm gonna get that precept real quick. This is Sirach 23 and 19. It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of Yahweh are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. So
Mm-hmm.
the Most High knows everything, and there's certain men and women that only fear the eyes of men. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, and we both came across brothers or sisters, or so-called brothers and sisters, people that claim to be in the truth, that you know put on a good facade or a good front that people think they're in the truth,
Mm-hmm.
but then the Most High will reveal
Yep.
to us and to other people that they truly aren't, even when we're not even looking for it sometimes,
Yep.
right? Because everything, I believe it's Luke 12:2, it says everything that's done in the dark is going to come to the light.
And Messiah also said, "Whatever you speak in secret, gonna be proclaimed amongst the housetops." Like there's nothing that goes without being revealed at some point in time. Whether you believe that or
Mm-hmm.
not, guarantee you can cash it at the bank every single time.
Most definitely. And so going back to this verse, it says, he's beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. So everybody has things they've done that they try to keep a secret,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody, there's some people that have things they're doing
Mm-hmm.
that they're trying to keep a secret.
Mm-hmm.
And me and the brother talked about this not too long ago, that there comes a point in time where you really don't even have to search for it when you really trust in the Most High. If your heart is sincere towards Him,
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna make it come out in one way or another. Either He's gonna reveal it to you, or He can reveal it to someone close to you that's gonna be like, "Hey, look at this,"
Yep.
and then you're gonna see it too, right?
Mm-hmm. Every time.
Every time. So if He knows our most secret parts, then we have to be willing to. And that's probably when I first came into the truth. What was one of the hardest things to do for me was to hold myself accountable and self-examine myself and see, okay, where was I messing up? What have I done in the past? Who do I need to ask for forgiveness? Of course, the Most High, but also seeking forgiveness from others, right?
Exactly.
And because we have to understand, sin most of the time grows in the darkness, but when we have accountability, it'll shed light on that darkness.
Exactly. Every single time. It happens every single time. I can't even find the verse right now off the top of my head, but there's a verse in Proverbs that mentions it says basically, hell and destruction are before the eyes of the Most High. How much more then the hearts of men, right? So, if the Most High knows what's going on in the underworld, so to speak, and He knows what's going on in the grave, He knows what's going on in the heavens. What make you think that He's not paying attention to everything that we got going on here on this earth too?
Con. So knowing that, right, it should put some fear in us, and the least we can do is try to examine ourselves, hold ourselves accountable, knowing if we truly have faith, right, knowing that the Most High is going to hold us accountable, then we have to start holding ourselves accountable, doing self-examination and having integrity um, for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because integrity, actually, let me get that real quick. It is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. So
Mm-hmm.
being honest and having strong moral principles. We know the morals that we go off of are according to the word, right? So my thing is, though, I'll add to that definition and say that integrity is doing those things, is doing the right thing, but when nobody's looking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we just read, there's certain people that only want to act that way or be perceived that way in front of people, but then behind closed doors, right, then it's something different. So even if nobody else knows what you're doing or what you're struggling with, the Most High knows and you know. So that this is why it's so important and imperative that we do self-examination and we hold ourselves accountable. And if we know we can't hold ourselves accountable, right, then you should at least have, like me and the brother. It's funny because I didn't see you had made that post. I didn't see you had made that post earlier. I got out the shower and I was like, oh damn, I was gonna post. Remember I told you I was gonna make a post,
Yeah.
and then I saw it and I was like, bro, I was just about to, because I don't know if you saw, it said about hanging out with butter knife people.
Yeah.
I had that one ready, and then I was like, man, I don't even gotta look for verses. This brother just
Yeah.
posted all of it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
One mind.
right? Yeah, we're on one accord with that. But anyways, if you follow after the Most High sincerely, Like it says in Sirach chapter 6, I believe, it says he's going to direct your friendships aright.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if you are actually following after the Most High, he's going to put somebody in your life that is trying to follow him as well. Because, like it
Mm-hmm.
also says in that chapter, every beast cleaves to his like.
Yep.
Meaning, if you got a pothead, you ain't gonna hang out with people that never smoke, right?
Absolutely. I actually had cross-referenced it one time to see what else it said in the GNT version, and it basically said every beast prefers its own kind.
There you go. Every beast prefers his own kind.
Like when it comes to my sheep and my chickens and stuff, I don't never find my sheep without being around each other. Sometimes my little chickens will go hang out with them and stuff like that, but my chickens they stay in the flock together too. You never find one without the other.
Con. And that's why when you're truly following after the Most High, in time He'll give you somebody to help hold you accountable, right? Because
Mm.
we've talked many times, and if it's like something he's dealing with, something I'm dealing with, or we just help each other out in understanding. Maybe he's got a good understanding on something, or and I have a good understanding on something, but he looks at it a little bit different, and then he adds to what I already have understanding on, or vice versa,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it's just a precept to go with what he was saying about being integral, right? Having integrity, right? This is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 3. It says, "The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them."
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what the word upright really means in the Bible, it really means sincere. Somebody who's sincere, somebody who lives their life in an honest way. They have pure intentions, good intentions, right? So the integrity that a person who is sincere has, right? So I'm gonna use the brother for example. If he's a sincere brother and he has integrity, that's gonna guide him through life every single day. Considering that we're naked before the Most High, He's going to judge us every single day based off of what we do and don't do and how we handle situations, right? That's going to guide him through our life, and it's going to guide him properly, right? It's going to guide him in a good way, right? But it says the perverseness of transgressors. So if you want to switch that word for maybe wickedness or disobedience or whatever you want to call it, right? A person who's not sincere, a person who doesn't have integrity, they're going to get destroyed at the end of the day anyway. It starts with their spirit getting put out. Then it goes to the physical aspect where they start doing things that just destroys their temple. And then if the Most High wants to punch their clock, He'll punch their clock.
Con, con. So let's go ahead and go to Romans 14 and 11. Romans 14 and 11. Nate, the messenger, all praises to the Most High. Keep feeding us the spiritual meat, elder. Khan, all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High.
Romans 14:7.
A Shar Shabbat. 14 and 11.
14:11. This is Romans chapter 14, verse 11. For it is written, "As I live, saith Yahweh, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to Yahweh."
Go ahead.
So then every one of us shall give account of himself to Yahweh.
So everybody, whether you believe in the word or not, guess what? Every knee is gonna bow, right? And everybody's gonna have to give account of what they said, of what they've done, etc. And that's why it's crazy because I know me personally, and I like I've been in the truth about 6 years, a little more than 6 years, but I know of brothers that have been in this thing like 20 years and up, right? And I've talked to certain brothers and this brother, my rib, and to many people over the years. And one of the craziest things to me is, okay, let me just ask you, Wak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, and everybody else, I'm sure you've been in this position. When you tried to share the word with somebody, has anyone ever scoffed?
Yeah,
Has it?
absolutely.
Has anyone ever disrespected the Most High?
Most definitely.
So in the final judgment, like imagine them seeing that man, it
Flashback.
wasn't bullshit.
Flashback.
Man, it wasn't. That brother wasn't stupid. That the Most High was and you're gonna know, right? And I remember talking to another brother that I used to consider an elder and stuff, um, about that. As far as like, he was like, "Well, do you think, he's gonna like tell them what they did, or you think he's just gonna put it in their head and they're gonna know and they're gonna boom,
Gonna put it in your mind, give you
right?"
flashbacks.
And I was like, that makes perfect sense. You see all these movies with these flashbacks and stuff. The Most High could do that in half a second. He can make you flash through all of those times.
And
You know what I
only
mean?
half a second went by. and
right?
it felt like it took about a few years. You
Con,
like, oh my gosh, I remember every single moment, and then it's when you start crying and stuff, and
con.
like a big old projector screen.
So in that moment, that's gonna be like the most extreme moment of regret and vulnerability. Because see, that's what accountability really comes down to, like making yourself vulnerable. And most people don't like to be put in that position. Like nobody likes to feel vulnerable, right?
Nah, nobody.
Nobody does. But you have to be, you have to have the integrity to put yourself in that vulnerability to the Most High,
Yep.
to yourself, even because
It,
some people want to just what they want to lock it away and never deal with it.
yeah, they don't never want to address it.
Or even because some, I'm, to be perfectly honest, I know brother, well, a few brothers and I know sisters in the past as well, that have came to me and literally said like, look, I don't have anybody else to like tell this to. Like I need someone to tell it to because I need to get it off
Mm-hmm.
my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll tell me, and sometimes I don't even know them, you know.
Yep.
And that's just the Most High putting it on the spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because we need that vulnerability. If you don't have that vulnerability and you allow yourself at your lowest points to understand what you're struggling with, then sometimes you need to share those moments with somebody so they can help point you back in the direction towards the Most High.
Only the Most High knows how many times I done told the brother about stuff that I might have been thinking about and things poor decisions I might have made and stuff like that, just to get it off of my chest. You know what I'm saying?
Con,
Not necessarily even looking for comfort, just the fact that I need to get it off of my chest because I feel like it's eating me up.
con, most definitely. And then we've all been there in one point or another. Maybe sometimes you didn't have nobody to talk to. Maybe sometimes you did have someone to talk to, right? Because we all know, hey, Shah Shabbat, Kingdom Minded 144K. Again, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of brothers gonna be traveling pretty soon to do baptisms. You need to get baptized. Hit me up.
Con.
If the Most High puts it on your spirit. I was gonna say we've all been in that position where we sin, and you just feel like overcome with shame, right?
Man, it'd be the worst feeling ever.
And sometimes it's not even. I remember I was talking to the brother Jomar months back, and he was like, "Man, I ate I don't know what, and then I looked at the ingredient, and I felt so bad, right?"
Man,
And sometimes it's not even something that you purposely did, but you feel like so ashamed that you broke the Most High's
you
laws,
got a real contrite spirit.
right? So sometimes when that happens, we feel real alone and we just want to like isolate ourselves, which there's a time and a place for everything, like we just read in Ecclesiastes 3 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes if you know you being isolated by yourself and nothing is coming of it as far as you turning back to the Most High, repenting, being able to hold yourself accountable, and you don't have that strength for that, then sometimes you need to go to somebody in order to help keep you accountable, or even just to get that weight off your chest, right?
I think it's a verse somewhere in Galatians where it says to bear one another's burdens.
Con,
Right,
con.
you just have to get it off. Like the ox said, you gotta get it off of your chest. I had broke the Sabbath one time when I was sitting on the porch, and he came outside, and I just told him like, "Bro, I feel so bad." I know you remember
I remember
too.
that. I
I
remember.
felt so horrible. I was like, "Oh my
It was
gosh, dude!" It was
accidentally. But
completely
yeah,
accident. In case anybody wanted to know, it was not intentional. It was
yeah, it was
completely by
accidental.
accident. But I felt so horrible after I realized. I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" I think I almost cried. That's how bad I felt.
Con. So having and we could take this whole lesson in a different direction as far as like the last post you just made and I made, and we didn't even know we are gonna make like
Yep.
similar posts. But having somebody like close, and it could be
A
your
sincere
husband.
person did that.
A sincere, someone who's not gonna be a talebearer, is gonna go and take your information, go pass it around to everybody. Yeah, you know this brother, man. Now,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, that brother's cool, right? Oh no, you know he did
Or
this and
somebody
that,
gonna
and
use it against you.
or somebody, yeah, well you did this, right? Somebody who sincerely is trying to look out for you and things of that nature. Having that type of relationship in your life where you can have hard conversations with people, it's kind of like in I have a few friends and then a uncle and an aunt that have all gone to AA, which is Alcohol Anonymous. What is it?
Alcohol Anonymous.
Alcoholics Anonymous, where you have to have an accountability partner,
Yep.
right? Because anytime you feel like you're gonna drink, you call them up and, hey man, I'm gonna drink, and you just talk to them, And sometimes it's just talking to them is going to stop you from doing it because you're on the phone, you're not doing it,
Yep.
right? So that it can be very essential to our growth as well, in holding ourselves accountable by having someone else. And then over time, as you build yourself up, right, then you should get stronger to where you could do it on your own. Or if you're a sister, you get married, you have a head who can help you at any time, and vice versa. A brother has his rib, or he has brothers around him. But at the same time, we have to understand we're always accountable to the Most High. So we have to hold ourselves accountable to the Most High and examine ourselves, and always try to hold the utmost level of integrity, which again, it means doing the right thing, but it really means doing the right thing even when nobody knows. Because,
Exactly.
right?
Because you never really know what. Like we know the Most High is watching at all times, but then at the same time, no, it comes it comes from when ain't nobody around you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even
Con,
whether you know the Most High is watching or not, like how the Aqua was saying earlier, most people try to portray like they're doing something good when people are around. But when you not like when people are not around you, that's when it all really matters.
con,
You know what I mean? Like, of course, it matters when people are around you, but what really matters is what you're doing on your alone time.
con. And yeah, like you said, I mean, of course, it matters when people are around, because you could not only, let's put it this way. I'm thinking of one person that this happened to not too long ago. When you go off, like, let's say, for example, you're wearing a skirt and you're wearing fringes, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows, oh, this person says they're an Israelite and blah blah, and they follow the Bible. And then let's say you go and do something in front of somebody that's against the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not only are you making yourself look bad, but you're making the Most High look bad,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And not only are you making the Most High look bad and yourself look bad, but then you can also lead other people astray as well.
Like the Ock actually held me accountable one time, right? I'm gonna give y'all a brief example and we'll keep moving forward. But this is a good example of what he was saying about having other people to hold you accountable. Sometimes you need people to help you as well. Like I had posted a picture one time with my animals and stuff like that, and I didn't have my fringes on. And Ock had said something to me about it, you know what I'm saying, from a very humble perspective, and he wasn't being a respecter of persons or nothing. He was just like, I mean, the scripture says that, he that breaketh the least of the commandments and teaches others to do so, he's gonna be least in the kingdom. So he was just showing me, like, I know that's probably not intentional of what you're doing. He was like, however, other people might see that and think that that's okay. You know what I mean? So something just as simple as that right there, you feel me, is something that keeps you in a position of trying to have integrity. So now moving forward, I'm more mindful now to have more integrity. Like, okay, let me make sure I got my fringes on at all times. You feel what I'm saying? So
Con. And I'm glad you brought that up, because there's been other people that I've told the exact same thing to, and they don't accept it as what it is. Like the scriptures say, um, what does it say? Rebuke is better than secret love.
open rebuke is better than secret love.
Open rebuke is better than secret love. So I wasn't being open, like, comment on his post, hey, y'all, you're going off,
Now he DM
and
me
you
actually. He DM me.
right? Because some people will do that, right? They're not really trying. Some people are trying to make you look stupid.
Yeah, they want to try to point you out in front of everybody, like, oh, look what he's doing.
There's people that want to help you out, and then there's people that want to just cut you,
Yep.
right? And you could tell by the way people correct you the majority of the time which one they're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is Proverbs 9 and 8, just to go along with what he's saying. It says, "Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee.
Yep.
Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning." So you could tell who's really moving in wisdom when they get corrected, and they appreciate it, right? And you could tell when someone's a wise man, according to this, when you give them instruction and they take it and they actually apply it and be wiser. They increase in learning,
Yep.
right? And that's just another way of holding each other accountable, right? Like for example, how long have you been in the Truth Art?
Since I've been baptized, probably like a little over a year.
Okay, so
About a year and a half now, maybe.
so a year and a half maybe, and still, like I said, he'll add to my understanding. because we all look at things differently. Like obviously the scriptures mean what they mean, but we all have our own lot and our own dispensation of wisdom. So we could look at it one scripture and be like, oh, it means this, this, and this, and then the brother's like, yeah, it does mean this, this, and this. Oh, you know what? It could also mean this because look at this precept, right? So when we're holding each other accountable, a lot of times all it's gonna do, if we're humble enough to take correction and instruction, is help us more in our path, right? It doesn't matter how long you've been in the truth or how long you haven't been in it. It's like I was studying with someone not too long ago, and we were reading in Wisdom of Solomon 4 how it says, wisdom is the gray hair unto men.
Yep.
Age doesn't matter. I remember a long time ago when someone was like, I'm older than you, like I'm your elder, you can't correct me. And it's like we're none of us are beyond correction
At all, bro.
right? None of us are beyond being held accountable. So this is actually the definition of accountable or being or accountability. It says required or expected to justify actions or decisions. So being accountable is requiring yourself and expecting yourself to be able to justify your actions and your decisions. So you got to ask yourself when you're doing something, can you justify why you're doing it according to the Bible, right? This decision I'm making, oh man, people think I'm stupid for making this. They think I'm crazy for making this decision. But when you really hold yourself accountable and don't care about what other people say, if you're like, well, the Bible says this though, so I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna make this decision. Then you're justifying your actions and you're actually being held accountable, not according to what people say, but according to what the word of the Most High says. Right? And that's another thing that we really have to examine ourselves on is I know a lot of people that make decisions based off of what other people are gonna think.
Man.
Right? Or how is this person going to feel? What is this or these people going to say? Well, if I do this, you know what? I think this is right, but if I do it, man, these people might cut me off. And that's when it comes down to it, none of that matters in terms of accountability because if you got to be held accountable by anybody or if you care about what anybody says, who are you going to care about?
Well, I mean, you should really only care about what the Most High says.
Exactly. You only care about the Most High. So it says you're going to be required or expected to justify actions and decisions. So anytime you're going to make a big decision in life, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a job. Okay, well, you know what? Now I'm going to have to be breaking Sabbath. I'm going to have to be cooking pork, right? You got to really think about it and self-examine and have the integrity to move in the right direction according to the Most High so that you know, okay, if he was to ask me, why did you make that decision? Why did you do that?
Yep.
You're going to have to justify your actions. So you should be holding yourself accountable now, knowing that you're going to be held accountable later on. Right?
I'm so glad you said that, because that's very, very true, man. Literally, whatever choices you make and whatever choices you don't make, whether they're good or bad, you are completely accountable. Only you yourself are accountable for the outcome of those choices. You feel what I'm saying? So that's completely on you.
And going back to, I always got to give a martial arts comparison, right? Like going back to when I was fighting, right? Let's say I train 2 times a day, or 2 times a day, 3 times a day, every day, and I got a fight coming. And then the fight comes, I do good, I win. Well, it's because I held myself accountable. I was accountable for whatever actions or whatever choices I made, right? Now, let's say I train once a week and I eat like crap and I go in and I get knocked out right away. Whether I was trying to hold myself accountable or not, I'm still going to be responsible for the outcome of my choices.
Absolutely.
Right? So either way, you're going to be held accountable. It just depends on if you want it to go the right way or the wrong way.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it's just the precept to go along with it.
Time.
Because this just goes to show, like, every decision that you make is going to be based off of whether you're moving in wisdom or emotion. But whatever decision you make, you still have to be accountable for it. This is Proverbs chapter 16, verse 20. And we're going to focus on the first part of it, but I'm going to read the whole thing. It says, he that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, And whoso trusteth in Yahweh, happy is he. The first part says, he that handleth a matter wisely shall find good. So it's saying that if you make a wise choice, if you handle a situation in the correct way based off of the Most High's word and not your emotion and your own opinion, then something good's going to come out of it. You are accountable for the good decision you made. Now, if you make a poor decision, it means you're also accountable for the poor choice you made and the bad outcome that comes out of it. Feel me? So,
Con, most definitely. Let's go to Second Timothy 2:15. I'm gonna read this verse real quick. 2 Corinthians 10:3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. So, even though we're all walking in the flesh, everything is really a spiritual battle, right? And spiritual and mental go hand in hand, right? Because when you think about it, says we're walking in the flesh. Our flesh is our body, right? But our spirit and our mind, like when we're having thoughts, right? We can have fleshly or carnal thoughts, but our flesh and our mind are really not one. Like I remember there was some dude that was a psychologist, and he would ask people this question all the time, and he would say, "So who are you?" And then people would answer, "Oh, well, I'm a y'all Yasharala," and like, no, I didn't ask what your name is.
who
Who
are you?
are you?
That's a
And
good
then,
question.
oh well, I'm a father, and I'm a son of the most high, and okay, but I didn't ask for your title. Like, who are you? Right? When you really get down to it, it's like
Who are you?
your spirit and your soul that's inside of this body, we're just like inside of this vessel, so we're in the flesh, but everything really is a spiritual battle,
Mm-hmm.
right? And only through the Most High, like it says here in I believe that's verse 4. Yeah, verse 4. It says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. The only way we can pull down strongholds when something has a stronghold on you is through the Most High's wisdom, right? Because some people, a lot of people that are like motivational speakers and all this type of stuff, they'll even use the word. Some of them know it and they just don't quote it. Some of them are just using it and not even aware of it. But when it comes down to it, they know, or people know in their spirits, that you need the wisdom from the Most High in order to pull down these strongholds,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we can literally look up verses for every single situation we go through, like every situation in life. I remember a
Yep.
brother not too long ago was like, "Oh man, I got a wife. Everything was going good, and as soon as we got married, she moved in with me, and now it's like it's real rough, it's real rocky, blah blah, right?" And so we started talking about what the problem could be and blah blah. And long story short, he was working away from home where he had to be gone for like a month at a time, right? And then
It's
maybe come
horrible.
back. Yeah, maybe come back for like 2 days to a week, and then he got to go back and work for another month.
Ain't it Deuteronomy 24?
I believe so. So I was like, well, there you go. That's your problem right there, Rock. In the Bible, in the Torah, in Deuteronomy, I believe it is Deuteronomy 24.
Yeah.
It says when you take a new wife, you're not supposed to leave her for a year. You're not supposed to be go out to war or be charged with business, right?
Yep.
Because you're supposed to be there to cheer up your wife, is what it says.
Yep.
So in other words, if you take a wife and then that happens, right, you're not gonna be there to kind of settle in with her and build that foundation in your marriage. But
Mm-hmm.
the point I'm making is there's literally, if there's a verse for that specific, that's such a specific situation, right?
It's very specific, and he
It's
gets a specific answer.
and but in the word of the Most High, right, through the Most High, His word, His mighty word, you can pull down that stronghold of, now you don't know you don't wonder what the problem is no more.
You
Now
know what
it's,
it is.
are you going to be accountable
Yep.
to fix that problem, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
But casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High. So anything that we put over the Most High, is us exalting that over the knowledge of the Most High. And a huge part of holding yourself accountable is saying, okay, am I putting A, B, C, D, or fill in the blank, whatever you're struggling with, over what the word says, right? And if you are, then you got to do some self-examining and see, okay, what is it specifically I need to fix? So what do I need to do in order to fix this? Right? And it says, bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. And who is Hamashiach? He's the word in the flesh. So it
Mm-hmm.
all comes back to, and I tell people this all the time, and many people are like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. When you see Hamashiach or Christ, Christ is the word in the flesh, right? So when it says, bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the word, doesn't it make so much more sense?
Absolutely.
You gotta, everything that you're thinking and doing, you need to try and bring it into obedience of the word. Because the majority of the time that people are struggling with holding themselves accountable, they already know what they need to fix. They just don't have the integrity to do it,
Absolutely.
right? But did you have a precept?
No, this is Second Timothy.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. It says, "Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." I was meditating on this verse the other day at work. And the beautiful part about this verse, right? A lot of people read this and they think when it says study to show yourself approved, you think that it means just, oh, let me open my Bible up and read. Like, no, 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 no. When it comes to studying the word, for start, there's multiple levels to it. The first level is you got to actually look into what these words mean. All right. And on top of that, what are you studying for? You're studying to become a workman. A workman is somebody that applies what they're studying, right? And by you applying what you studied, that right there will make you have the mindset of confident so you're not ashamed, right? Because you've been sitting here taking your time and actually applying your energy to the word. You've been studying it, you've been applying it, you've been a workman, you've been rightly dividing the word of truth through life, trying to make the right decisions, make the right judgment calls. Right? It doesn't mean just, oh, let me read the Bible so I can say, oh, I see I study. I see I do 2 Timothy 2:15. I've been studying to show myself approved. Okay, well, what have you been applying though?
Con, con. And that's why it goes back. These two verses go hand in hand. 2 Timothy 2:15, studying to show yourself approved, and 2 Corinthians 13:5, examining yourself. Because studying, like the brother said, is not just reading, right? I remember there was a someone in the truth that I would talk to almost on a daily basis, and the question that I would always ask this person is, "Oh, did you read?" "Yeah, I read 3 chapters a day. I read 5 chapters. I read 10 chapters." And I would be like, "Okay, what'd you get from it?"
What did you retain?
Well, repent.
Just one verse.
It would just be little. I could tell that this person didn't really get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference between reading, which of course we have to read in order to study, but reading does not equal studying. So this is the definition of study. It says a detailed investigation and analysis of a subject or situation, to devote time and attention to acquiring knowledge of a subject. So you have to make, first of all, you are obviously have to devote time and attention to it, right? And you're gonna read. You set aside the time to read, but then you are also making a detailed investigation and analysis of that studying or of that reading. Meaning, you're going to investigate. Okay, so you could be like, just as an example, study to show yourself approved, a workman in the truth. Okay, cool. Yeah, study, show yourself approved. And then someone asks you, well, what does it mean to study? Well,
It means to study.
you study, you read. I study. You're not really making a detailed investigation and analysis into what you're studying. So, like the brother said, you have to know the words. And I remember a long time ago, I did a live lesson on studying tools. Right, Etymo Online is a really good one. It's called Etymo Online. It shows you the etymology or the history of the words. Right, it'll show you all the way back, the farthest back they know of where that word came from in English. Then it also tell you, oh, it came from Greek, it came from Latin. Then also using the Blue Letter Bible, which will tell you the Greek meaning of the so-called New Testament words and the Hebrew meaning of the Old Testament words, right? But for most people, it's like, man, that's a lot of work, Ark, or that's I just don't have time. But I bet you have time to be on Instagram and watch Netflix and all these other
Uh-huh.
things,
Uh-huh.
which again comes down to what? Self-examination,
Yep.
holding yourself accountable,
Yep.
having integrity,
Absolutely.
right? So studying to show yourself approved. We know the Most High isn't going to be like, check, he's approved just because we read.
No.
If that was the case, I know some Christians that read the Bible probably more often than a lot of people that claim they're Israelites.
Yep.
But that's still not enough because we have to apply it as well,
Exactly.
right? But let's go ahead and go to Second Chronicles 19 and 5. Second Chronicles 19 and 5.
This is Second Chronicles chapter 19, verse 5. And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city, and said to the judges, take heed what ye do, for ye judge not for man, but for Yahweh, who is with you in the judgment. Wherefore now let the fear of Yahweh be upon you. Take heed and do it, for there is no iniquity with Yahweh our God, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts.
Go ahead.
Moreover, in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set of the Levites and of the priests and of the chief of the fathers of Israel for the judgment of Yahweh and for controversies when they returned to Jerusalem. And he charged them, saying, thus shall ye do in the fear of Yahweh faithfully and with a perfect heart.
So basically, what was happening, if y'all don't know, the book of Judges is about the Israelites that were set up to judge Israel. So now the Most High not only said that you have to judge and not be a respecter of persons, you can't take gifts, you have to judge correctly. So not only are we accountable for judging ourselves, but also we are held accountable for judging our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, because a lot of people like to say, "Oh well, you're not supposed to judge,"
Not
right?
true.
It says, "Judge not that you will not be judged," right? What that's talking about is if I'm a homosexual and I'm like, "Hey, you better repent. You're gay, bro. You're a faggot." But then I can't be telling him that if I'm doing the same, or if I'm saying, "Hey, Ak, you can't be smoking weed. What's your problem?" And I'm over here smoking weed.
Yep.
That's what it's talking about. It says pull the
The mold out your own
mote
eye.
out of your own eye before you point out the one in your brother's. So it all goes back to, and actually we can get it in Leviticus 19 and
Yep.
17.
Yep.
It's in the law that we actually have to love our neighbor and hold them accountable as well, because the Most High holds us accountable for that too.
This is Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
So if we're not holding our neighbors accountable, the people that we're around, the people we know are Israelites and in the truth, and this goes back to Second Chronicles, how we were reading, you can't be a respecter of persons. There's a lot of people that call themselves Israelites, but they wouldn't dare correct certain people because they respect them too much,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's why in Sirach it
I was
says
just gonna go to
that you can destroy your soul through bashfulness. When you're too shy to say something to somebody, but you know it's the right thing to do,
yeah.
that can destroy your own soul.
Here we go. So it wasn't that verse, but to go along with what he's saying, this is Sirach chapter 4, verse 22. Accept no person against thy soul, and let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall.
Con.
So simply, his reverence, the word reverence, right? If I study to show myself approved, the word reverence, when you look into it, it means the respect you have for somebody.
Yep.
So let not the respect you have for anybody cause you to fall. and you can fall in many different ways. Let not the respect that you have for somebody cause you to not move in integrity. Let not the respect that you have for somebody cause you to, um, cast aside proper judgment. You know what I'm saying? Let not the respect that you have for somebody cause you to do anything that is against what the Most High wants you to do.
Con. And yeah, reverence means to, it's actually, when you look at it, it means to respect somebody, but it's like another level. Like if you have respect,
Yeah,
it's the next, it's like, I think it says like to deeply respect
on
somebody.
a whole different
So
level.
it's a higher level, but what you have to realize is when the Most High says don't be a respecter of persons, what he really means is you can't respect someone more than me by I tell you this. This
Yep.
is the right way to judge. This is how you need to correct people, because if you really care about that person, if you care about them more than you respect them, you're not gonna want them to go off, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna want them to be moving against the word.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't respect them more than you care about their soul,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And I'm gonna read this verses to go along with that since we're mentioning the subject. This is Matthew 18:15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. So another problem, especially with like social media and camps and congregations and churches and all these things, is people aren't in the spirit of holding someone accountable because they care about them. They're in the spirit of wanting to hold them accountable so that they can put them on blast.
Mm-hmm.
So they can try to make them look stupid, like I said earlier, to try to cut them. Right? When Yahushua said, if someone does something against you, you're supposed to go to them first. Because what's gonna happen if if this brother does something against me and I go to him and I'm like, hey, look, you did this. This scripture goes against that. I already forgive you without you even saying nothing, but I wanted to bring it to your attention so it doesn't happen again. And then he's like, you know what? That's my bad, Ak. I didn't even realize it, blah, blah, blah. Right? We're cool.
Yep.
But what's going to
Water under the
happen?
bridge.
And we move forward. But what's going to happen if he does something against me and then I go and I tell another brother and then he tells another brother and then that brother's like, man, I feel bad. Like I heard from this person and that person. Now I'm gonna have to reach out to this brother y'all, and then
Mm-hmm.
he goes and tells them that like they say that opened a whole nother can of worms. Like
Yep.
that's gonna make things way worse.
Absolutely.
So the best thing to do, whether it's a brother, whether it's a sister, whether it's your own husband or wife, because tell me if you've ever seen this, Ark, in the world or in the truth. You have a married couple and the man does something wrong, and then the wife goes and posts about it on Facebook or on
Oh
Instagram or on
man,
whatever, right?
that's like the norm today, man.
Con,
Like literally, that's all I ever see. It's like if you want to see a prime example of what not to do according to the scriptures, go to Facebook.
con,
That's exactly what happens. Every woman that's on there complaining about anything related to a man is because she's telling the business of what happened with her and her man.
con. And that's why I haven't had Facebook for years, because that's all you. It's all gossip.
That's
Down,
literally it's all chisme.
it's all cheese, man. That's all. That's literally all it is. But I'm just mentioning that because when you hold someone accountable, it has to be in the right spirit. A lot of people, again, they want to hold people accountable, but it's in the wrong spirit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and they don't, or maybe they're in the right spirit, but they don't self-examine themselves enough to know that they're not saying it in the right way, right? We were
Yeah.
just talking about that too. Proverbs 15:1.
Yep.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I'm saying the right thing to the brother, right? Like I'm
Yep.
I'm pulling scripture, I'm saying the exact thing. I'm trying to hold him accountable, but I didn't examine myself and really think about how I'm telling the brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling him like if I'm telling one of my children and they haven't been listening to me all day, and now I have to go off on them because hey, they haven't been listening, they didn't get it when I was telling them with a soft answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just go off on the brother. A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So all I'm doing is stirring up anger with him. And even if I'm right according to the scriptures, I'm still wrong because I'm doing it with the
Mm-hmm.
right tone or the wrong tone,
Exactly.
right?
What's that saying in the world? They used to always say it's not about what you say, but how you say it. But I would
Con,
beg to differ. It's about what you say and how you say it,
con,
because everybody receives messages in a different way. You feel what I'm
con,
saying? And I give this example every single time. But literally, just read Paul's letters. Everywhere he went, he spoke to them in a way that they can understand it.
con.
Some people he had to speak a little more aggressive to, like with the Galatians, he spoke real foul to them. Some people, because he even said, even though I be rude in speech, you feel what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah,
speaks to everybody in a different way, and that's how we are. You got to speak to them on their level. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way, because somebody will take that and be like, "Oh, you talking to me like I'm stupid?" Like, no, he talk to you on your level to where, okay, let me not try to say this in a way where it's gonna ruffle your feathers and make you think that I'm saying, or doing that out of the wrong spirit.
con. So it's not about what you say. It's about what you, or it's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. But it's actually about both,
It's actually
right?
about both.
Cause and that's funny because I've told my kids this many times about like babies or even animals, right? You could
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, you're so ugly," right? And as long as you do it in the right tone,
It'll sound nice to them.
it'll sound cool.
Yeah.
But you could say, "I love you," when you scream at them, and they're gonna get freaked out,
You
right?
don't love me.
So your tone is just as important as what you say when people can actually understand your words,
That's very
right?
true.
Let's go ahead and go to Proverbs 10:9.
Come
We're just gonna get a couple more scriptures and then we'll close it out. Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 9.
Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 9. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known.
So people, and this is the NLT. It means the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
People with integrity walk safely, right? And that one it says walk surely. When you're sure, like we talked about this before, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you sit down on a chair, do you have enough faith to not check the legs on the chair? Do you check the legs and you're like, okay, that one looks wild. Wait, let me see. Let me test this out.
You just
No,
plop on it. Then.
you got full faith in that chair. You don't even think about it,
Yeah.
right? People with integrity are gonna walk like that. You're gonna have faith in the Most High. Even if you go through some situations, you're still gonna walk safely and walk surely because you have that integrity, right? You want to read it one more time?
Fine. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known.
So
Absolutely.
people with integrity are going to walk safely. The Most High is going to keep your foot from being dashed upon a stone, like it says in Psalm 91. But those that are following crooked paths or not on the straight gate are going to be exposed. People are going to know how they truly are, right? Because again, like we said, I believe it's Luke 12:2. Everything that's done in the dark is going to come to the light in one way or another.
I promise. I promise you. I'm. Don't play with the Most High like it ain't real. I know some people who do not believe that the Most High is going to expose you for who you is in front of everybody. It's a verse in Sirach where it says he'll cast you down in front of the streets, in front of everybody. You done it. Shoot, what did he tell David? You did it in secret, but I'm gonna do it in front of all Israel. I'm gonna do it in front of everybody so they can see.
Come, come. So you have any precepts? I got a couple more, but I think that's good for to go ahead and close it out. Probably coming up on an hour.
I mean, personally, I think you done pretty much hit it all. I mean, the only thing I would say is just like for the people who have ears to hear. I mean, you might have heard people talk about having integrity, and it might sound cliche to you, but every single day is an opportunity for you to do better than the previous day.
Come,
And every single day that you get the blessing to even have breath in your body and wake up, you have to make a decision to choose good or to choose evil for that day. There's not a single day that goes by where you don't have to make a decision on what side you want to be on.
come,
You know what I'm saying? You got to be hot or you're going to be cold. There is no in the middle. There is no, oh, you know what I'm saying? I did this, wrong, but I did, what I'm saying, did this right. Like, it's like you just got to make the right choice. You know what I mean? And whether you're around people, whether you're by yourself, whatever the case may be, understand that you always got eyes on you no matter what. The Most High is the one who's looking at you at all times. Like, matter of fact, that just brought me to a precept. Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 3. It says, "The eyes of Yahweh are in every place, beholding the evil and good." His eyes are everywhere at one time, at the same time. It's a movie that's out called Everywhere All at Once at the Same Time. Something like that, right? Something to that effect. But the Most High's eyes is everywhere. He sees everything. There's nothing that you can do. Like he saw what you said today. He saw what you was thinking today. He saw what you did today. He saw what you didn't do today. He saw what you dreamed about last night, what you didn't dream about. He saw everything. So in my personal opinion, I think the brother done pretty much hit everything that needed to be hit. You just got to be mindful and make sure that you walking in integrity to the best of your ability. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if the nobody is around you, understand the Most High is. He sees it.
Most definitely. And I got two precepts to go along with that as well. This is Jeremiah 23 and 24. It says, "Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Saith Yahweh. Do not I fill heaven and earth?"
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, the Most High is everywhere. He's omnipresent and omnipotent. Like he says, "Do not I fill heaven and earth?" There's no secret place that we could hide from the Most High, right? And this is Second Chronicles 16:9. It says, "For the eyes of Yahweh run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show Himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards Him. Herein thou hast done foolishly. Therefore, from henceforth thou shalt have wars." So it says his eyes are to and fro in the whole earth. And it says he shows himself strong to them whose heart is perfect towards him. So not only is he holding us accountable and he's seeing what we're doing, but he's working and giving strength to do the things that we need to do if you're actually sincerely trying to follow after him. And he's going to help you to move forward and take steps to better yourself, better your life, better your walk with him when you're sincerely walking after him, right? And if not, it says when you're doing foolishly, you're going to have wars. Now, back then, of course, Israel had physical wars, but nowadays, I mean, it's more mental and spirit. Not that it wasn't back then, right?
It's that inner war.
It's that mental and spiritual war more so nowadays, which is why depression, suicide, anxiety, all these other um, diseases is what they'll call them, right? But in reality, it's just spirits that the Most High is allowing you to have on you, because just like when Saul was moving against David and he was hating his brother in his heart, which the scriptures say you're a murderer. It says that the Most High sent an evil spirit to trouble Saul, right? So when you're moving foolishly, not moving in wisdom, the Most High sees that, whether you're holding yourself accountable or not, whether you're examining yourself and seeing that you're being foolish, he still sees it, and he's going to allow those curses and those mental and spiritual wars to happen.
Kind. And just to add on to what the brother is saying, it's another precept that popped in my mind. And this is Psalm chapter 139. All right, I'm going to read a few verses in here. Verse 7. "Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence?" This is David talking to the Most High. He's saying, where shall I go? Where am I going to go from your presence? Right? Verse 8 says, "If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there." No matter where you go, the Most High is there. And he sees all things, right? And then if we jump down to verse 11 and verse 12, it says, "If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me." First off, what does light do? Light gives you the ability to see, right? So even if you try to hide in the darkness is like a light bulb in the eyes of the Most High, because the Most High sees everything, whether it's light or dark outside. And verse 12 says, "Yeah, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee." So there was a verse that I pulled earlier about how it says, "Such a man fears only the eyes of men," right? A lot of people think that, you can do things in this life and, You think that you ain't gonna get punished for it, and you think that the Most High didn't see it. You think that He just gonna brush it off. I think there's another verse in Sirach where it says, "Say not, oh, He will not look upon me amongst the multitude," something along those
Yeah.
lines, right? He sees everything that I'm saying right now. What the brother's been saying this whole time. I hope that if you have ears to hear, you'll take this and take the integrity more seriously. You know what I mean? I try to hold myself to the utmost standard every single day to the best of my ability. I fall short all the time, but there are some days where I have really good days, and there are some days where I have bad days where I might be off. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it doesn't sway me from having enough integrity to hold myself accountable, to look at myself, and to make proper judgment on where I need to fix myself.
And that's the thing. It's actually a gift from the Most High to be strong enough to examine yourself and have accountability, because for most people, some people are just they're made crooked, they cannot be made straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for most people, it's like, yeah, maybe something's in the dark that you're doing, or how you're moving or something like that, right? But let's say you're in the dark in your room, right? Put yourself in this position. Let's say all the lights are out in your room and you hear a mouse in your room, or you hear a cockroach flying around in your room, right? You still know it's there and it makes you so uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what are you gonna do? You're gonna turn the light on,
Trying to find it,
and you're gonna try to find it, and you're gonna try to get rid of it. That's kind of like how, when you're actually sincerely trying to get rid of it, there's some people that will just be like, "Man, forget that damn cockroach. I don't know what," and they're gonna
ain't worry
wake up
about
in
that
the middle
shit.
of the night with that on their face,
The
right?
fraud in their mouth.
Right? They swallowed it and they don't even know. So that's how it's actually a blessing to have that spirit of, okay, yeah, it's in the dark. I need to examine. I need to bring light to this, and I need to hold myself accountable and have the integrity to get rid of it, whatever it is, right? Get rid of that roach that's bothering you, because for for the most part, I know people in the truth have some sort of conscience to where they're gonna feel bad when they do something. Some people just don't care enough.
Yeah.
They just give up, right? They get, you know what? I've been trying to do this too long and I can't.
I
And
just can't seem to get right.
right. And I know brothers and sisters, man. I know of one brother, man, I had nothing but love for, grew up with and stuff, and it just got to the point where it was like too much, and it's easier to go back into the world,
It's
right?
easy to give up.
And that's why it's funny, because a lot of people look at you like this brother always, or has told me multiple times, he goes into work and he's got his Bible with him, right? A lot of people will see that and think, and automatically think like, oh, that person's weak. Like, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
right? They'll see you as weak, but in reality, following the word is the hardest thing to do.
Man.
So it's actually very strong. If it was easy, everybody would do it,
Yep.
right? So I'm gonna go ahead and finish with this verse. It says, "This is Jeremiah 32:19. It says, Great in counsel and mighty in work, for thine eyes are open upon all the ways of the sons of men, to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings."
Mm.
Right? So to sum the whole lesson up, and with this verse, it says, the Most High's eyes are upon all of our ways, and he's going to give every single one of us according to the fruit of our doings.
Mm.
Right? And the fruit of our doings, Yahushua said that will be known by our fruits, by our actions. I know a lot of people that, well, I have a good heart, but the Most High knows my heart.
Oh, I hear that so much.
Right? The Most High does know your heart,
Yeah,
but
he
he
do.
judges your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What if one of my children, they said they love me every single day, and I'm like, man, they do. This child loves me, but they didn't listen to nothing I said to do. Right? I'm still gonna have to punish them.
Yep.
They're gonna be put through the fire, which is what happens when you don't follow the Most High.
Absolutely.
So accountability, self-examination, and then integrity to move according to what you know you need to do after you examine yourself and hold yourself accountable, or get someone to help hold you accountable, right? So with that, I'll say Shalom, Mashar Shabbat, and as always, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, through His Son, Yahweh Shai. You have anything to add?
Man, Shabbat Shalom. The Octa said it. He done said it all, man.
Khan. And just remember, everything that is done in the dark will come to the light. Your sin may be in darkness, but when you have accountability, you'll shed light on the darkness, and then you will have the integrity to move forward, Most High willing, and move past that sin. Right? A just man falls 7 times, but how many times are you gonna stand up?
He's gonna get back up again.
8,
Yep.
right? And you have to understand when it says 7 times, that's the number of completion. So there has to come a point in time where you're done
Finally get
with
it.
that sin. You know what? I stopped smoking weed for 3 months, and then I'm back on it. Yep. And then 2 weeks, and I'm back on it. And I'm 3 weeks. Oh, I'm still trying. I'm good.
Gotta come a point in time where you get sick and tired of rinsing and repeating.
Con. So with that, all praise to the Most High. Shalom to all the brothers and sisters on here now, and that are gonna watch it later on.